till I give it a read. Keep it crisp in the sleeve. Every Tuesday night feels like Christmas Eve. Living between Wednesdays.
What's up, folks? I'm your host, Konrad, on Wednesday Night Reviews, and tonight we're joined by Adriano Ariganello. Adriano, thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. I've been looking forward to this for a while, so I appreciate you having me on.
Perfect. I'm glad to hear it. I'm excited, and I think the folks at home will be too. First and foremost, obviously, we're here to talk about Stay Cool, your comic that's live on Kickstarter now, with 4 days left to go. And I'm going to throw up the name right now, so if someone just wants to go check it out, back it, get their book, go for it. That being said, Adriano, for the folks out there who've maybe never seen your face, never heard your name, who is Adriano?
Yeah, so I'm Adriano. I've been writing for a long time, but most of that stuff has gone, into that folder, that 1 day folder.
Yep.
Right? So I have it's a pretty thick digital folder of that. Originally I started in film school. I thought that was the path I was going to do, a reverse Kevin Smith kind of thing. I was going to make my name in film and then start doing the comics. Didn't go that way. So, I got the regular day job, but now that I've kind of become kind of comfortable with how things are going, I decided to really jump in and get into the whole indie comic scene. So this is my second Kickstarter. First one went pretty well. This one already funded, so it seems to be going pretty well as well. But not a bad start, I think.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you know what? I'll bring it up. Boom! Already fully funded, $200 over asking. Canadian, actually, it's not too rare, but we very often I end up talking with American creators. So when I see the price, it's like I gotta make sure that they know it. But yeah, you are 240 over, which is awesome. And we actually have some comments already rolling in. So Geek Collective, Adriano, my dude, Steve White, good evening, sir. Hope you're well. Once again, grab Stay Cool before it burns into flames. Absolutely. Nice. And a good fan, Lisa. Love the first one. Can't wait for Stay Cool. Awesome. Glad to hear it. You've clearly got the support.
Good start.
Yeah. All right. So, Adriano, for the folks out there who maybe don't know what it is, don't know what's it about, why are these people hyping it up? Can you let the folks know what Stay Cool is?
Yeah, so it's a 24-page one-shot. We went black and white based on Raphael Cristiani. He's our artist. His art was incredible, so we just decided, you know what? People got to see this kind of untouched as is. 24-page one-shot, full story. Knowing that I'm not such a known name, I want to kind of give people the whole thing, beginning to end without having to do too much of an investment. So, you get the full sense of what I'm about and what these stories are about. And again, the art really pulls it together. Raphael was amazing with what he was able to do. So yeah, very happy with how it's turned out. But yeah, it's a one shot about spontaneous combustion and revenge. Right. So our main character, has the worst day of her life, effectively, as her colleagues start popping off around her and bursting into flames, and she knows who did it. And there's not really much of a mystery in that sense. She knows who did it, and she's going after them, and that's kind of where we jump in. So yeah.
Right on. Would you mind if I show off page 6 because we get a nice big shot of her?
Yeah, go for it.
Earlier that day. Let's see. Yeah, it's gonna be nice to me. Wonderful shot. I love the art. Like and this might be me, but I absolutely love hatching and cross hatching, and like all the detail work that goes into shading without just using big black heavy inks. Love it.
Yeah. And he really did a good job. I kind of gave him like a last minute audible because he threw me, he threw me a couple pages, and I said, dude, you know what? I don't know if I want to color this. I just want to leave it. So he redid the first few pages and kind of got them to where they're at here. So once I kind of told him, you know what, I just want your art to be the focal point. This is kind of where he went. So yeah, I think it looks great. It's really, it's really eye catching. And when we start getting to the more actiony pages, which I know you've seen, he really pulls that off pretty well too. So
yeah, I don't want to get into too much spoilery territory. This is page 6. How deep can I go? That's okay with you.
You could, I would say maybe around half. You could probably go without getting too spoilery.
Okay, so about 14 pages. Okay.
Yeah, I would say there's a couple twists in here that we don't. Like I said, she knows who did it, but there's some things that happen that's it still keeps you on the tip of your toes as to where it's going, right? The mystery just isn't the who; it's the what. So.
Yes. Well, just to sort of show off. No, did. Oh, okay, cool. I was gonna say, so the main cover, as far as I'm concerned, which is technically cover C, that's by your interior artist, right?
So the cover C is actually Mattia Monaco. So he's a different artist. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So he put together such a great cover. It was I couldn't help but use that as the teaser for everybody to see because it really draws people in. It's There we go. It's an excellent image. So, and again, no prompt, no nothing. I just kind of said, "Here's the script. What speaks to you?" So that's where we ended up. It's actually it's it's a great piece of art.
Absolutely. Like I find the various covers so interesting. Did you, when you were getting people to do the covers, did you just like have fun, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, more or less. I'll usually give them 3 or 4 prompts just to say, it could be this, it could be that. In this case, they all kind of went with the same idea. So maybe I got to take a couple prompts away next time I do it, just space them out because they all kind of picked, the running towards the camera on fire deal. But, but I mean, it's such a, it's such a cool look that I totally get why they all really gravitated to that one. But yeah, usually I just say, here's the 3 or 4 things that could look really cool. And they all kind of had their own take on it. So I think it's cool in a different way, right? Like here's 3 very different artists all doing the same thing, but in their own interpretation, right? So.
Yeah, like it's not my mic, but I have a different if you're getting
I am getting some feedback. Hold on. Let me see if I can do a last minute switch up here. I can't quite hear you. Sorry about that. Let me see if I can switch this up. Okay, last minute audible. Here we go. All right. There we go. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, your audio is still coming in a bit staticky. I apologize.
Oh, hey, no problem. Thank you for letting me know. Am I a little better now? Or how about now? I should say.
Much better. Yeah, a little better there.
Sometimes I forget with this mic. I've got to get a little close.
Oh, no worries. All right. Sorry. So I missed the last thing you said before before that. I apologize.
I was just basically sort of giving some love to the art because I think the look itself is awesome. And yeah, it's eye-catching, it's different, it's interesting. Now, a couple of sort of questions have popped into my head. As folks can see here, Pesto Comics, that's you, effectively. How did you come up with Pesto Comics? I mean, it's just a great food, so like I get it, but like, how did it get started and all that stuff?
Yeah, it honestly the name Pesto Comics was, I was really struggling to come up with a name that would kind of one like hit those SEO things because I thought, everything's been taken, and what's going to be memorable and short, and what's not, what has a URL that's available. So
good point.
Yeah, so I'm sure you can tell by my name I'm Italian, so I wanted to kind of lean into that a little bit. So I thought, you know what, walking around the kitchen, trying to have my morning coffee, what's a good idea? And that came to mind. It's like, you know what, it works. It's catchy enough that I don't think people are gonna forget it. So, yeah, that's how Pesto Comics came about.
I dig it. You know what? Like there's something about the simplicity, and it in a way speaks to your roots, which I totally dig. And it's just a good name. Um,
I appreciate that.
yeah. So
It worked.
absolutely. So my other question then for you, Adriano, is um, why? Wow, the word has just left me. Why people suddenly bursting into flames? Yeah, forget the word for that. But what about that sort of caught your attention, other than the fact that it's really cool? Well, terrifying, horrifying, monster coming away.
Yeah. So there's a good reason behind that. Basically, it's that feeling we were kind of getting in the early part of the pandemic. I didn't lean too much into this when I wrote out the description, because I didn't want people to start thinking in that direction. But realistically, that's where it came from. Was that feeling during the pandemic of, we don't know what this is, we don't know what it's going to do to us, but imagine you knew, like, who to blame, right? who can I point the finger at to say you did this to us? So I was thinking of, what's something a little more visual, than people laying in a bed and being sick,
Yeah.
something a lot more comic book. So yeah, bursting into flames randomly without much explanation. Just it's happening. You don't know why, but you got to get to the bottom of it, because you can't keep living like this. And really truncated, because it's a one shot, so it's all one day, kind of just all crammed in there. But I really wanted to give that sense of like, who knows what's going on? Like, I can't believe my whole world just flipped on its head, in a day. And like, how do we come out the other side of this? But fortunately, she knows who did it, so she's gonna go make them pay one way or another.
That's so cool. And when you started writing it, was it always to you one shot, one and done? Now that you're back, so it's getting made. Is your brain kind of like, we could do more? I'm so curious, like the inception of it, the current state of it. Tell me all the things.
Yeah. So this was always intended to be a one shot. That said, there's a couple Easter eggs. I know that it's kind of early to have Easter eggs when you got two comics out, but there is a link between the two. So I had a couple friends who checked it out already and caught it very quickly. So that's good. People are paying attention, so maybe it's not as hidden as I thought. But yeah, so there's a little bit of hints that this might all be one universe. This might be one, I don't want to give it away.
Yeah.
One thing that's kind of tying everything together. So that's although this story is self-contained, we could always expand on the universe of it in one way or another if people are really into it.
I dig it. Well, clearly they are. Again, you are 4 days to go. So, folks, whether you're listening now or in the next 4 days, so before September, safely 30th, get this book. Again, I'm gonna pop it up here. Go into Kickstarter. Stay Cool is the name of the book. Google that. Get yourself a copy. It's already getting made. It's already done. Don't miss out. Now, Adriano, like you said, it's your second comic, and I've got to ask, because I love this question, because I love the enthusiasm and the passion. How did it feel when you hit that $1,000 mark?
Oh, it was great. It's actually double what I aimed for the last one, and to hit it, to hit it so much quicker, it was a great feeling. I mean, I feel like I'm on the right track. It's definitely encouraging, because I have plans for more beyond this. This isn't like get those two out. These are the stories I've been thinking of forever kind of thing. Like, this is a long-term plan. It's something I've been wishing and hoping to do, and just haven't really pulled the trigger until now. So yeah, I got a lot that I hope to do and planning to do. I actually got the next one already in the works. So yeah,
I like that.
So, yeah, so once I hit that, it's like, okay, this is working. So yeah, absolutely great feeling. I was very happy with it.
That's fantastic. And I don't know. truth be told, one thing again, I'm not asking this question too, is when you started getting the pages in originally, right? When you started actually seeing the drawn pages and then completed stuff, what was sort of your reaction to the final bits that you have seen? Because I appreciate maybe not all of it's pretty, fully finished.
Yeah, so yeah, he was sending me pages pretty quickly, and a lot of thumbnails and that to start, and even the thumbnails were, it's like he was he was interpreting what I was saying for like almost spot on. So it's just like, you know what, save your time, just send them, send them when you got them. You don't need my approval, you don't need anything, and yeah, so Raphael like nailed it right off the bat, kind of thing. He sent me maybe 3 or 4 thumbnails. And then I'm just like, you know what, dude, I'm not going to have any feedback for you, so just go for it. So, and he hasn't disappointed. I mean, so the book's done. I have I have the whole book. It's ready to go. So, so yeah, I've seen everything he has to deliver, and it's excellent. Like, I'm very happy with it. But yeah, like very, very easy to work with too, because again, like, here's the script, tell me what you think of it, and he just nailed it, like page after page. So, yeah, absolute thrill to be getting those pages in for sure.
That is sick. I love it. It does. Now I have to ask: do you like in your script when you're actually writing them to send over? Are you like hyper detailed, or did he just kind of click into what you were going for?
So I was doing like the full script, like panel 1, panel 2 kind of thing, but I don't go too much into the detail because I don't want to overprescribe, right? To be like, oh, the right hand is reaching for this, and it should be this side. Like, I give them kind of a feel of, this is what I'm going for in the panel. This is like the emotion I want out of it, right? Like, she's very angry and looking at this person. Next panel, right? Keep it very straightforward and simple, right? The dialogue kind of gives a little bit more away of what's happening in the scene, but I really don't want to like tell them exactly like move your hand here and do this. Like I like to be a little more free with how that lays out. I worked with a couple so I've done a lot of these variant covers, so I've worked with a few artists now too. And I know there's all kinds of different styles as well. Like some want the most description, some want none at all. Yeah, Raphael was very like, this is enough, I'll figure it out kind of thing. so it worked really well because I always start sparse, and then I say, if you want more, like even if you want references for every panel, I'll do it. But he was just like, no, I can work with this. So yeah, and like I said, it didn't take much. He was sending completed pages very quickly and like really well done. So.
And for Raphael, how did you sort of hook up with him as a team? Like, was it famously a lot of folks who come on my show, they go to Reddit, the subreddit, comic collabs.
Yeah, no. So this one was actually. So I met a couple people on there. This was actually a Facebook group. So it's
cool.
connecting comic book artists and writers, I think, is the one. So I've had more luck there actually because
cool.
yeah, it's I've heard a lot about the Reddit, so I did meet a couple cool artists there as well. But yeah, the Facebook group is pretty well moderated too. So you can get some folks that like, one, are really professional, and two, you can trust because they've been vetted to be there. So it was good as someone, again, starting out, didn't really have many contacts. Well, didn't have any contacts, I should say. Right? Didn't really know where to go. So yeah, that was a great group because the moderator there's pretty hands-on. So
that's awesome. Well, yeah, I'm glad to hear it. And again, what's the name of the group?
It's connecting comic book artists and writers, or it might be the other way around. But yeah, it's connecting comic book something or other, one way or the other.
Okay, so something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
Cool.
If you put that in the search, it'll show up.
I dig it. Now, one of the cool things that I get to do because of what I do and all the people I talk to, obviously, is check out one of really cool comics. And continually, when I ask writers, why pick this artist, why them, why not one of the 10,000 other people who are probably equally as talented, ready, waiting, and just going there. So was there a particular panel or page that Raphael showed you that made you just like click in? What fit with them for your book?
Yeah, he had a pretty decent, like he had a decent sized portfolio to flip through, and so, and again, he just does the pencils and inks, so again, it gave me that sense of like, okay, if I wanted to go black and white, he could definitely do it. But also, so the main character of this book is Ellie, she's a female, and the way he draws females is like spectacular, like so
Right
good.
on.
So I knew, okay, like he can nail it. He can get that vibe that I want, where it's like I want a female lead who looks like she can carry herself, like not like Wonder Woman, just like a normal woman who looks like she can handle her business. And so he had a lot of work like that I knew, okay, this is the guy. Like he can nail it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I'm gonna go in. Yeah,
sold it.
yeah. Like I said, I don't want to spoil or nothing. I really enjoy how the different characters, their body language. Like for me, that's a big thing. One, leading the eye, which whether it's your script or just Raphael's art, believe this leads my eye very well. Between the way like she's literally looking at what we should be looking at, the word bubbles even want to grab your attention. I guess that the fact that I just pointed up my screen doesn't help you at all. Can you see my mouse? No, you can't. Okay.
No, can't.
So like the fact that she's literally looking at the next panel and the word bubbles go from her face down, and we see him at his computer and we want to naturally up to his face. Then you're catching more bubbles, and it just like it keeps pulling you. It's really well planned out, and then yeah, like the way that the pages are laid out, expressions, the body language, I dig it. How much of that is Raphael, and how much of that is your description and feedback?
Like I said, like he nailed it in terms of the flow of it, right? So I did the lettering on these, so he made it easy. Yeah, he actually left me space to do lettering, which is amazing, right?
Yeah, oh my
Not always
God.
the case. So the flow is pretty easy to maintain because there were natural spaces to put all the dialogue. So yeah, I think it flows all right. I'm glad you you feel the same.
Yeah, no,
That's a good.
100%. Also, kudos for self-lettering, and massive kudos to Raphael for leaving you that space, because
Yeah.
I have seen behind the scenes stuff. I have seen the raw pages of people's books without the lettering on them, and there's just so much art, and then it's like, but now we have to put words, and it's hidden, and it's like, no.
Yeah.
Keep Raphael as long as you can.
Yeah, for sure. I'll keep him busy. Good.
Now we're a little further in time-wise into the interview than I would normally want to ask this question, but I think it's an important one. So for the folks out there either watching live or, like I said, in the next 4 days checking this out online, given the book is done, which is great to hear, I always like to ask, what is sort of the minimum buy-in that someone can get, say, just a digital copy, and then what's some of your more higher end tiers, if you have any sort of crazy rewards or anything like that that you're on?
Yeah. So for $5 Canadian, right? So discount for the Americans listening.
Love it.
Right, $5 Canadian, you get your digital copy. So I'm pretty meticulous about how you get it. I put it everywhere. I put it on Dropbox and OneDrive and Google Drive, everywhere. Just I want you to get it, so you're gonna get it. And I give you, your PDF in multiple formats as well. Mobile, high res, the whole deal. That's $5. So just for $1 more. There's a story behind this. So you'll get a print variant. So what this is I was experimenting with something, a smaller format. It saves on printing costs, and I pass that right on, right? But the deal's even better now because you get 2 of them. And the reason I'm doing that is because Richard Morgan was really cool and just decided to do this cover like for free. Just threw it at me. Uh,
That's
just
so
said
cool.
right, just like really was into it. Said, hey, I want to make a cover for you. Are you interested? Of course. So rather than making it an extra tier that people would have to pay extra, I said, you know what? If you're getting it anyway, I'll print these two, and you're getting both. So you get that and the digital copy. So really low barrier to entry there. If you just want to grab it, you'll get 2 copies, one for you, one for a friend, whatever, right? And this cover is exclusive to the smaller size, right? So you can
That's
only get it that
cool.
way. Yeah.
What I'm so curious. What is the smaller size? I've got a copy of regular size comic.
Yeah.
So for Stay Cool, the smaller size, is it like this is?
It's like like if you got manga on your shelf, it's gonna slide right in. That's that's the idea.
Okay.
Right? So it'll be that size. I got a sample. Yeah, give or take,
Cool.
right? The lettering's being redone for that size too, so I'm not just taking the pages and shrinking them. Like it's going to be a little bigger, so it's readable. I did get a sample from the printer too, just to make sure. Like, is this something that I can pull off? And it looks great. So, it will look good. you're not a guinea pig if you get it. It's a good option if you just want the print copy. But yeah. So now it's a 2-for-1. So yeah, it's a pretty good deal. Again, it's not something I had initially planned, but it was so generous. I had to pass on that generosity. So I figure, you know what, I'll throw them both in the package if you order it, and that goes for all the bundles. So any of the bundles that would have included that version, get both of them, right? So that's I think the last 2 bundles. You just get those. Like, I'm just gonna throw both in. So yeah.
Cool.
The tier above that is your more traditional, traditional size comic, and one for each cover, right? So $8
Okay.
for the main one, and then a small premium for the variant. But again, Canadian dollars, so what are we talking? 70 cents American. Not even a cup of coffee, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, and so they're all tiered and they build. So with each version, you're getting the same access to the digital copies as well. And then so there's a bundle. The next bundle is I called this the Cristani pack. The reason why I did that is I've worked with Raphael before. I worked with him on the last project to get a variant cover for me. So if you order this, you get both of those. You get my previous comic with his cover, and you get this one with his cover. So you're getting the whole thing, and you get the digital of both. So it's not a bad pack because you're getting the history of of this and like of our relationship working together here.
That's
So
sick.
yeah.
You know what? For the folks out there maybe who have no problem dropping 20 Canadian dollars, could be wrong. I think it's like 15 American, maybe 14.
It's not much, yeah.
It's not much, yeah. What is Unlimited Udo without?
So Unlimited Udo is about it's another female lead. She gets she gets let go from her job. Her name's Hope. She gets let go from her job when her boss decides the solution to the world's problems is more of him. He ends up cloning himself and basically overruns the world with clones of himself. Imagine an Elon Musk type who decided there needs to be more of me. Yeah, that's that's the idea. And so, looking for work, she decides I'm going to become an exterminator because it becomes legal to get rid of these what are now considered pests. And that's how she finds herself in a, again, not to give too much away, in an interesting position as she's eliminating these Udo clones out there. And yeah.
Adriano, you have a very interesting mind, and I love it. I look very much so forward to see whatever your third comic is going to be. I'm noticing that so both of these comics are one shots, perhaps in the same universe, perhaps not. Do you highly enjoy the one shot sort of format of it?
I do. I think it's a good, especially when you're dealing with indie creators and that, like, you really want to get a sense of what they're about without having a you're just getting the beginning of a story kind of thing. You get the first
Yeah.
issue, and then you're like, well, I didn't really get much. And like I like the idea of here's a beginning to end complete story for you, right?
Yeah.
And that and the format's good because it kind of keeps things rolling. Like there's not not too much asides or B and C and D plots. It's just like A B. Let's go. Here's the idea. Whole story beginning to end, right?
Beautiful. I love it. And you've actually already got 4 backers getting both of your comics. So congrats. Among, I think every other tier has had backers too. It's awesome. Um, now, I do notice that the bar on my screen indicates that there's at least, I think we're maybe halfway through all of your tiers. What are the crazy stuff you got going on there?
So yeah, so the other tiers just become bundling more and more. So they're easier to get through, right? So you can get all of the covers in one. You can go of the traditional size. The second one's all of the versions of it. So I couldn't update the title, but you're getting both of the digest size, right? Plus all the covers and all the digital. And then the last one is just get everything. Everything I've printed, everything I made digitally, you get all of it.
I love
and
it.
There's a secret to this one that nobody's taken me up on yet. I don't want to say I messed up, but I did. I messed up the shipping on this. So if you get this, I'm gonna ship it to you. I'm gonna cover it. I rather than go and fix it, I said, you know what? I'll just own it. If somebody's gonna take me up on it, I'll pay the shipping. You take it. I'll send you everything I got, and what the price you see there is the price you're paying. Yeah, I committed to it via social media, and I said, you know what? Let's do it. Let's see if someone's paying attention to, to my slip up. So, secret for anybody listening here. Yeah, if you go for that package, that's the price. There's no shipping. Just go for it. So yeah, you get quite a lot for that. It's gonna be a nice heavy package for you too. So
Yeah, really.
yeah, it'll be a savings in shipping for sure.
Now, one of the things that all gone. Oh, the early versus. Okay, awesome. Hey, that's fantastic.
The early birds did okay. Yeah.
Woo, yeah, they really did. Okay.
Yeah.
So, questions coming to mind. I guess, Adrian, my next question for you then is, given the book's back, it's happening. You have it already, finished copy. Is the printing done as well, or are you using the funds from this to print?
That's the latter half. Yeah. So not printed yet, but it's together. So once the funds come through, it goes right to the printer, and then yeah, it'll be in my hands and then shipped out. So yeah, we did pretty well with Unlimited Udo in terms of timing, right? We got the funds, and then 2 weeks later we had the books on site. So fingers crossed.
Yeah.
It goes the same way. People are going to be getting it, very soon. So that's the hope.
That's a fantastic turnaround time. Yet agreed. Adriano is beast. Agreed. That is the quickest turnaround time I think I've heard of for indie comic. Oh god, questions. I have to ask now. Adriano, are you like an editor or a graphic designer or something in your day job?
No, I work in IT. Just, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the film school stuff stuck, I guess.
That's awesome. No, the fact that you got such a good turnaround time that you apparently didn't run into that many issues with printing because I have horror stories. Again.
Yeah, knock on wood, it goes smooth this time.
Yeah. That's fantastic. Now, given the book is done, the campaign ends in 4 days, so on the 30th or 29th. I believe, a little behind the scenes magic here. I think it takes 2 weeks for you to get the funds.
Yeah.
But are you going to be at that point, so October 15th-ish? Are you going to then release the digitals and then when the printing is on Secord, or are you going to bundle it all and send it all together?
Yeah, I usually don't wait for the print copies to arrive because last campaign and this campaign we got people from all over the world. getting it, so I don't want us all waiting for it to hit Argentina, or it seems to be a longer wait for them to get their books. So yeah, so as soon as the funds clear, everybody gets their books. That's the idea. Yeah.
That's sick. And like you said, you have it again. I'm gonna knock on wood. If it takes say 2 weeks, funds clear. So November, maybe. Hopefully, you can actually be sending these books out. People can have their books end of November, probably at the latest ish, depending on where they are located in the world.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Now,
yeah, I think that's possible. Like that's what we're aiming for. Yeah.
that's sick. I love it. I guess you mentioned all over the world. So again, my show, my focus is to help indie creators, specifically Canadian indie creators. So Adriano, as close as you're comfortable giving, and don't dox yourself basically. Where is it that you're located?
I'm in Etobicoke, so I'll give you that much.
Perfect. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Perfect. You're in Etobicoke. You're like I'm Richmond Hill, so we're like
right
an
on.
hour apart.
Yeah.
That's awesome. For the folks out there who are like, "Where's Etobicoke?
What is Etobicoke?
And what's Richmond Hill?" Toronto area, Ontario. Love
Yeah.
it. Now, you mentioned, like you said, all over the world. So, when you started getting people from places that weren't Canada or the States, what was that reaction like? And what's like the weirdest or most unexpected location someone's ordered your book?
This time I think Switzerland was an interesting one because I don't know where they found the book, but I appreciate that they did. That was an interesting one. It hasn't been anywhere like crazy exotic or anything. Last campaign, a lot of folks from Germany and Poland.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so a lot of the English-speaking countries as well. So England, Ireland, the UK, basically. When I say English-speaking, yeah. So they're like number 3, which I guess isn't too surprising. But yeah, like it's been kind of all over. But there's always one or two that like I got to figure out how I'm gonna ship to them. But they always seem to make it, which is good. So I haven't had a complaint yet. I usually try to follow up with those folks too, just to say like, I lost tracking on this one. Where is it at? And they're like, oh, it hit my door. So that's good. Yeah, and these artists that I'm working with as well, they tend to be from all over as well, and I like to send them kind of like a care package. So yeah, so they're from Limited Udo was in Argentina. That was Valentin de la Casas. Valentin de la Casas is the name of the artist, the interior artist on that one. And this one, Raphael's in Brazil. So yeah, those are packages that always we'll see how it goes. I might have to send a second. So far, so good though. But yeah, it's been interesting, kind of where people are coming about. But yeah, the U.S. and Canada seem to be, 1 and 2.
Yeah, I mean,
not surprisingly.
Yeah, culturally, I think that's sort of where comics are most well known.
Yeah.
Although I will say, a lot of, for some reason, a lot of Brazil I hear a lot, as well as Italy.
Yeah.
Quite big there too.
I was gonna say, so both the cover artists on Udo and here, 2 of them are from Italy. So the one that cover C, Mattia Monaco, Italian, Riccardo Facchini, who actually did the coloring on the 2 covers. The one that, so A and B, he did coloring on that, and he did a cover for Unlimited Udo. He's also Italian. So yeah, the Italians are kind of killing it with the art in particular. I don't know what they're doing over there, what's in the water, but it's yeah, it's pretty good. So yeah, this is Ricardo's coloring on here. It's Brian Escura's art. But yeah, it turned out really great. He has a real good eye for that kind of stuff. So very happy. But yeah, I gotta it's only been two projects kickstarted so far, and I feel like I got a good stable of artists here to work with. Which again, I'm happy we funded because it means I could keep these guys really busy, and I plan to. So
honestly, that is so good to hear. I'm loving the passion that you have, the clear interest in continuing, and yeah, based on what I've read, what I've checked out, please do. Like I said, you have a very interesting mind. What you write, what kind of stories you're wanting to tell. I think whatever comes next, that third issue is going to be pretty killer. But we're here to talk about number 2. So, folks, go back this one. There's only 4 days left, so please go.
Please do.
Oh yeah. Now, we've kind of, I think for me, we kind of tapped out the hard questions. What I like to ask though is I do like to let people know a little bit about the people I'm speaking to. Right? So we can talk all day about the comic and the fact that it's the project we love on Kickstarter and then backed and successful. It's great. Yeah, I like to know a little bit about you as well. So, Adriano, did you come into comics from just the sake of writing? Are you a comics fan? Like, how did you get involved?
Yeah, so no, I've been a fan forever. I started reading back when Death of Superman was coming out. That was the entry point. Yeah, so
That's what you started with. Wow.
That's what I started with. Yeah, it was my cousin kind of threw a few books at me. And X-Men cartoons, all that stuff kind of all happening at the same time. So it was kind of easy to get into. And yeah, fortunately, my cousin, we were living in the same house for a while, so he let me read that stuff, and since then I was hooked. Still I got the massive collection kind of stowed away in the basement that I continually add to. But yeah, big time comics fan. Even when I was in film school, actually, like I said, I always had an eye on comics. I thought, but whether it makes sense or not, I always thought film is going to be where I'm going to get some work, and then I can do comics. Whatever. I was 18 at the time when I made that choice. Yeah. Older version of me now knows that maybe that wasn't the right direction. But yeah, like my first film project was me going to comic shops. It was an excuse to go to the Silver Snail and dig through their long boxes. Right? And just be like, oh, I'm looking for, it was the story of me trying to find a copy of Death of Superman to kind of bring it full circle. And Superman 75, like that issue, the black bag, it called Finding the Black Bag. So it's just an excuse for me to go around with a buddy and film walking through comic shops and going through long boxes. So it's always been the idea. And then yeah, writing was always where I wanted to be at. Like I went for film production, but my focus was screenwriting. And then again, but my hope was I could prove myself with a film, then someone's going to let me write comics. So here we are. I let me write comics, and then we figure it out from there.
Yeah, well, it's interesting actually because the entirety of film, photography, all that kind of storytelling. Another Toronto-based individual, specifically creator, one that the folks that were watching might know, Francis Manifold, who's drawing just about everything under the sun at this point. Yeah. Batman, DC, Justice League, all of that. He is actually a massive fan of film, and on his YouTube channel, where he doesn't post super frequently, but he posts some of the coolest videos. Because all he really talks about is how to make comics, how to write comics, draw comics. But he actually approaches it from the lens of film. So he shows that there's a video he's got. It's all about framing shots, like in comics, framing a panel. But he does it by making like the most beautiful video of him entering his studio. He's using interesting shots and lighting, and he's like, these are the things you look out for. So the fact that you went to film school, you studied production and then screenwriting, just writing the comics, like it doesn't even shock me. I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. You're just basically storyboarding, but doing it with, people exploding in the fire.
Yeah, that's the idea, right? Like you get a good sense of one is like how to pace a story, but two, like framing, blocking, like what how it should look. I don't have the hands to do it myself, so I gotta find these artists who can do it. And fortunately, I found some great ones. But at least I know. I feel like I can at least speak their language a little bit. And I'm always trying to educate myself. Even though I don't think I'm ever going to get to the point where I can draw for myself. I like to at least know what's behind what they're doing, what they're capable of. So that again, I could kind of communicate what I'm looking for without having to really give them too much to read.
Fair. And I guess it this has come up a few times for me, which is really interesting. I've started to notice patterns in different types of writers and comic book creators I meet and talk to. Um, do you find that your time at school and learning how to do what you know how to do has helped in your writing? Because one thing that I won't say is bad, because there are comics that have this that I still love, but is maybe not the best, is like having extremely wordy comics. And so far, every page of yours I've seen, even when it is like more letter dense, it's still, each word bubble is small, it's quick phrases, and it keeps moving. Do you think that education helps when it comes to knowing how to be concise and to inform your writing?
I think so, right? I think that's, it helps a lot in being a lot more, like, trying to get your point across with as little as possible. But a lot of it also just comes with trust with the artist, right? Like, you gotta really trust that they're going to be able to get things across without you having to explain every single little thing, right? Exposition's definitely a killer in comics. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Some can just, I get it. I'm looking at them doing that. You don't have to tell me. Yeah, I totally get that. So I really do try to avoid it. I try to be as sparse as humanly possible. I just want to give you enough that you can get on to the next, the next panel, the next page, that, things are moving. Because with comics, words are time, right? So the longer you're spending on a panel reading this whole paragraph of things that they could have just shown you, I'd rather just get you another page to look at, right? Get you looking at more art a little bit quicker while getting my point across. So I don't know if it's school so much or if it's just reading a ton of comics and kind of figuring out what I like out of them and trying to emulate that, right?
I dig it. And talking about comments, so we are coming to the end of the interview, and I typically end the interview on the same 2 or 3 questions. So yeah, let's go with this one because I love it because I'm a little nerd and I like it. So often, as you've mentioned, you're a collector of comics. I find people who create comics, they're fans. They collect either the books, the toys, the graphics, the floppies, memorabilia, all sorts of weird, cool stuff. Adriano, for you, what is the thing in your collection that maybe not the most expensive, maybe not the most rare, but what's the thing for you that, like, when you see it, makes you happy, that you get to go, like, I have that thing? What is it?
Oh, that's a good one. I don't know if there's one, so I'll tell you what I'm doing now, and it kind of leans into what I'm reading. I've been going around antique shops, like, all over Ontario, and a couple of Michigan. I've been looking for basically the entire Superman triangle. I'm going through, like, trying to collect all of it. So that's like the 4 Superman books, like, through the 90s. They had a little triangle in the corner that gave you that sequential order. I'm trying to track down every single one. And I'm not that far off. So yeah, so looking at that, it's like, all right, like, it's a bit of a nightmare because it's a lot of books, but it's great. I'm loving it. But yeah, I really enjoy when I find those, because I've been going some strange places, some great places, but wherever it has them, and at a good price, because I mean we're talking over 500 or so books at this point, so they got to be in the right range. But yeah, it's that I love looking at that stack of long boxes or short boxes. Yeah.
Now, for the folks out there and myself, I'm a huge Batman fan. I like Superman, but I'm not into Superman. What you're referring to is this triangle. Is that correct?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, that's that corner and that one in the top right corner there. That's the triangle. So each year they would give you, like, there's Action Comics, Superman, Man of Steel, and then The Adventures of Superman. and each week a Superman comic was coming out, and you would keep track of what order to read it in based on what number was in that triangle, right? So for each year they would restart it, right? There you go. And yeah, you'd see 1993 24, 1993 25, and then they restart it for the next year. So I'm trying to get any of those with that triangle. I'm trying to get. So that goes right through Death of Superman, Return of Superman, right up to like 2003 is I think when they dropped it.
Whoa.
Yeah. It's a lot of Superman, but I like Superman.
Yeah. A lot of people do. So I've got to ask now. So how many do you think? Like, I appreciate tracking individual amounts can get kind of hard, but roughly how many of these books do you have? Like of specifically those triangles?
I gotta have in the hundreds. Like I might have 200-300 now. It has to be. I actually just made a run last weekend, so I haven't tallied it up yet. But yeah, if I have it all documented and all that, so I could pull it up, but I won't bore everybody with that. But yeah, it's in the hundreds.
That's awesome. Yeah. Are you just gonna go for that run where they had it in the 90s, or is there more beyond that because we'll probably dive into it?
I'm sure there will be. Right. I'm also, I stay current with the current stuff. I'm, behind on reading it all this month because of the Kickstarter. But
yeah, you've been busy.
Yeah. Right. But I do stay current as well. So there's some gaps I'm sure I need to fill for years I've missed or months I've missed. But yeah, I think this is keeping me busy enough. I think for now.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that I will say, and you are in extremely high spirits, and you should be. You have been very successful. You're beyond that at this point. But yeah, I think something that a lot of folks don't understand about doing what you're doing, which I have never firsthand experienced, heard about from doing this, is you have a day job, so you probably have like a 9 to 5 or 3 to 6, whatever it is. You then have some semblance of a personal life, family, friends, dog, cat, whatever. Yep. You then wrote a comic book. You then found an artist, teamed up with them, got the book made. Now you're doing the other full-time job of doing this. You're marketing it, you're tweeting, you're Instagram posting, you're making wicked TikToks with my logo with them. It's a job. Like, oh my God, what we're doing is a full-time job. So the amount of work that this takes to get to this point can be tremendous. I gotta commend you on that. It's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, it takes a lot of planning to kind of make it go relatively smooth, but it still ends up being a lot of work. You can plan all you want, but you still got to do it. So yeah, it's a lot, but yeah, I'm happy to be doing it though. I mean, I wouldn't be doing this part if I was if I wasn't enjoying it. So yeah, forced to do the day job, but everything else is kind of bonus. So, but yeah, it's been great so far. I'm so happy to be doing it. Very excited to keep it going too.
Hell yeah, I hope you do. Now, regarding your Superman books,
yes.
Once you have them all, and I hope it is a very fun hunt. I hope it's not too easy, so that way it's enjoyable and rewarding when you're done. What are you gonna do?
I have no idea.
Okay. Like one thing I saw, and when you told me like the sort of the scope of what you're collecting, it's hundreds of books. Initially, what my brain went to is he in the '90s Superman had like 3 or 4 series, one a month. That's 48 books a year.
Yeah.
What I have seen collectors do, which I think is super cool, and I've kind of referenced it with the books behind me here, is you can go out and do I have yes. So this comic is in a top loader.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you're familiar. You know what it is. The folks that
Yeah.
probably know. It's basically a clear hard case. You slip your comic in, keep it protected because we're nerds and we protect our paper. So what I've seen people do is they've taken this, but like to the extreme where they're butted up against each other on all sides, and you get a whole wall, and you could theoretically get 48 of them fitting on a wall in each couple of months, swap out years. That's what my brain went to because I think that'd be sick. I don't know. In some way, find a way to display them. because yeah, I think comics are too interesting and fun when it comes to art to just stick in a box.
Agreed.
That's why
Yeah.
I have this. Like, it's just I love this.
Yeah, I like that idea of rotating them. I like it. I gotta investigate that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I said, well, for me personally, other than obviously the Batman, the other Batman, and then the Natural, um, everyone on this wall I have interviewed or plan to.
Nice.
Yeah. So eventually there should be a copy of Stay Cool. So,
Oh, I like it. Yeah.
yeah. Now, Adriano, my other question, I got sort of two left for you. I appreciate you throwing a lot in here. When it comes to what you're currently reading, again, I appreciate you're a very busy person. But at the moment, what is it that is keeping you happy? Whether it's a book, a comic, an audiobook, an album, what's scratching your brain?
It's gonna sound silly. So, I just got that subscription to DC Universe Infinite.
Oh,
So
okay.
I'm going through those books that I can't find in my long box. I'm reading them in order on there. So I got my monitor turned portrait style. So I got like a nice 24-inch page, effectively. It looks pretty sweet. It's if you have a monitor that turns, I recommend it. It's a great way to read comics. You really get into the art that way. If you don't have a physical, of course. Physical's always better, but yeah, it's a nice way to read them, especially when you can't find them because there's hundreds in all kinds of boxes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but reading that, kind of seeing what I'm collecting rather than just doing it blindly. So some of them I read them and then I pick them up because I'm a completist, and I know I'm picking up maybe an issue that wasn't as great as others. But got to do it anyway. But yeah, it's keeping me in context, I guess, while I search for them. I'm like, oh, I just read that one, or
Cool.
yeah, it is taking a while to get through them though. There's a lot to read, and a lot of it's taking me back. Cause like I said, I started kind of at the midway point with Death of Superman, and was reading all through there when I was younger. So yeah, it's kind of sometimes I remember things like, whoa, yeah, it's crazy how that happens. I totally forgot things, and then I hit a page, and it's like, memories flooding back,
triggers.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's been great. I mean, at least for comics inspiration. I mean, just go from the beginning, right?
Oh yeah. I have to know, for the DC fans out there, myself included, the service that you mentioned, the DC Unlimited, would you say it's worth it? And what is on it? Is it just like sort of older stuff, or is it current stuff?
So they have tiers, of course they do. So
Fair.
the first tier is pretty good if you're just going back issues. And they have a ton. There are the odd gap here and there. So sometimes even just to keep reading the entire series in order, I had to go find like a physical copy to read. But the gaps are pretty rare. You can read a lot of the classic stuff kind of beginning to end. And then if you go to the ultra tier, they're only a month behind, like what's on the shelves. Yeah. So if you're, I find it really. I do stay current with a lot of the books, but these past couple like big crossovers and things they do, like I can't stretch the budget to get all 30 tie-ins, so this allows me to kind of read it all still, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a great way to do it. And only a month behind, so it's like right now I'm a month behind anyway, so I'll be current anyway. But yeah, no, I've absolutely loved the service, and if you got a good tablet, or again, if you got like a monitor you can flip portrait style or something like that, like it's a pretty good way to read them. At least I think so.
I totally dig it. Yeah, I can do that. I never knew how to do it. So thank you for that. Well, Adriano, you have you've tapped me out. I've asked all my questions. One last thing I want you to tell the folks though is, where online can they find you? How can they get your book, and where should they go?
Right. So yeah, it's I made it very easy. PestoComics.com. I'm Pesto Comics on Instagram, Twitter. Sorry, I take that back. On Instagram, TikTok, everything but Twitter. Twitter, I'm still on my personal because that's where all my followers are. Pesto Comics is also me, and one day I'll figure out how to do the flip. with the way things are now, it's I'm a little scared to do it.
Yep.
Yeah, I couldn't even change my username for a few days there. So I'm Canadian Oranges on Twitter. But you can still find me at Pesto Comics, and I'll direct you to my personal if you go there. So Pesto Comics, you'll find me. I'm on everything. I'm trying to be everywhere at once just to really get the word out. And then Kickstarter's still going for the rest of the week and Saturday at midnight. So check it out.
And there's the name. Absolutely, folks. Whether you're watching live now or you're watching this in the next 4 days, so between September 26th and 29th or 30th.
The 30th, yeah.
Yeah. Google this. Go find the book, back it. You're going to love it. Drop the... Where is it, Konrad? It's right there. Drop the 60 Canadian dollars and get everything. Both of Adriano's books. Get the cool... I think I say this wrong. Tankoban?
I think so.
Perfect. I'll take.
That's how I would say it.
I'll take it. Get the Tankoban editions, which I think is a super cool idea, and enjoy. Yes, Raisel Pete's card literally everywhere.
Nice.
Go check it all out. And Adriano, thank you so much for taking the time to promote and talk to me today.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. This was a lot of fun. I appreciate it.
Hell yeah. And for the folks at home, comment down below what you thought of Adriano, what you thought of his previous work, and what you think of this one. And like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Adios.
Golden age to present, digest to oversize. Never miss new comic day. Yeah, no surprise. So where's my no prize? Check the letter columns. Can't find issue 2. Collector problems, cliffhangers, mysteries. You need answers. When did